A letter to God. It is one of the lessons for class 10 CBSE students who have to write all about the letter and how is a letter written and what is God, that everyone must know all about it. What is a letter? It is a written document by someone personally to other, in which one can convey a message of happiness, grief, or sorrow that he is suffering from. And God is Almighty, who is all powerful. He is the creator of the universe, and here this very fiction is written by G.L. Prentice, who is one of the best authors, and he writes about this very fiction through the character Lencho. Lencho is a hard-working farmer who lives in the hill region of Mexico, who has few pieces of land where he grows corn in his field. So here another character is the postmaster, who is fat and amiable, who likes to help, and seeing Lencho's faith in God, he is not only surprised but to retain his faith in God, he comes forward and donates part of his salary as a benevolent person so that he can have. But to dismiss, it does not happen like that. Lencho's crop was destroyed by heavy rain. Yes, the story begins from this very line, and here you can understand that who was Lencho. He is the protagonist, central character of this very story, who walks in farm like an ox. Means here it is used metaphorically, and it works like an animal who has to work hard, and in lieu of that he is given a husk and grass that is grown in nature and found and prepared by human beings. So here that man is simple, innocent, and had a staunch faith in God. And so here he just finds that his field is dotted with flowers. He sees that there are clouds appearing in the sky, and these clouds are so huge and black, and seeing that, he finds that it would be much better for the growth of his cornfield, which requires a little rain for the enrichment of the produce. So he is happy. But very soon he comes out of the house. Some children also come out of their houses, and they find that the rain is stimulating, but as soon as it turns into a downpour, means heavy rainfall, they are besmeared with water, and now they come to their houses. But as soon as the hailstone starts falling, which is quite destructive, Lencho becomes sad. Oh, what has happened? And this hailstone continued for an hour. This continuation of this hailstone not only destroyed the whole valley, but all his corn crops grown in his field. Not a leaf was remaining in the field. Even the whole valley was destroyed. What a big loss it was! It was like a total loss. And he exclaims that a plague of locusts. What is locusts? Locust is a kind of insect which flies in thousands, and when it settles on a heavily grown crop land or field, it eats all the greens of all those crops, but it leaves. But here, the hailstone was more destructive than a plague of locusts. So he remained sleepless for the whole night. What was that? He decided what to do. It is a matter of chance. He was thoughtful, but he had heard. And he had found that in some scriptures, holy books, as well as some holy man said that God is here to help us. There was only one help, and he expected that God helps. He also knew that no one dies of hunger. No one dies of hunger. What does it mean? That God who looks at everyone from the heaven, He knows what are the requirements of each and every man, and He supplies it to them. His house was located singly in the entire valley, and looking at its taste, he was thinking all about it. Really, his harvest had been destroyed. Now, what to do? He was a little literate. He thought what he could do. He just took a piece of paper. He wrote something on it. It was almost a letter to God. And next day, in the morning, he goes to the post office. There, he just mailed it. But what was written in the letter to God? He wrote that his crops were destroyed due to hailstones, and he needed 100 pesos, and he requires it for sowing the seeds in the field so that his family and he could not die of hunger. Really, it was a wonderful letter written to God, because it was the heartfelt agony that was expressed truly in a few words to God. When this letter was mailed, but how? He went to the town next day. He went to a post office. There he bought an envelope. He bought a stamp and affixed on it and addressed to God. When the postman, who is a postman? The postman is a person whose duty is to just get letters after being sorted out in the post office, and then he delivers it to the persons addressed. Moreover, he also just delivers money orders, registry letters, parcels, etc. So, when he opened the mailbox, he found a letter addressed to God. This address he had never seen in his life. This was a wonderful address. It was unbelievable that someone had written a letter to God. The postman just showed this letter to the postmaster. What kind of man was he? He was fat, friendly, and very generous in nature. He also did have some faith in God, but he did not have that much faith in God as Lencho had. Firstly, he laughed jokingly. Firstly, he laughed heartily, and then he became quite green, serious. What he wanted to read the content of it. When he read the content of the letter, this very letter does not require only the goodwill. What does it mean? Only the good feelings, good emotions, sympathy, and feeling of something that can help him was not enough. It was some money. He wanted some money, and he had such faith that he had started correspondence with God. And finding that this man has such a strong faith in God, which should not be shaken, in order to keep his such a wonderful, great, unfathomable, and immeasurable fact, the postmaster was inclined to help him. But he was not in such a financial state that he could just contribute 100 pesos, a Mexican currency, in total. What did he do? He asked his employees to do some kind of charitable act, and for an act of charity, benevolence, or generosity, they did contribute some pesos so that it would be sent to him. Finally, the envelope was ready, the letter was ready, and 70 pesos was filled in the envelope. The letter was signed as God, means the postmaster did not want to reveal his own identity that he had helped this man, because he did not want to shake Lencho's faith in God. It was. So, what did he do? He did something. And letter was addressed to Lencho. Lencho himself came to post office. Now, he was expecting that he should get the reply from God, and he comes. He gets that. He opens that. He is not a bit surprised. Rather, he did not feel grateful to God, but he understands that it is God's duty to help everyone. He finds that it contains only 70 issues. What the thing? He became angry. He became irritated. Why? Because he did not have the wholesome amount that he had written or requested to God to send, and he had calculated, recalculated in his mind, and then only he had come to conclusion that he requires only 100 pesos. But how God could make such a mistake? And he thought God could never make such a mistake in helping him. And so he just blames all these officials, employees who were in the post office. What a contradictory situation is this? This is really a very contradictory situation, and it is also said to be an irony that the person who helped Lencho not only to just keep his faith in God but also sacrificed some money to just overcome his problems. Wow. So it is the irony. Now, what did happen? He just becomes dissatisfied and calls the employees of